There's something about you that unsettles people. They can't name it. They can't describe it. But the moment you walk into a room, the atmosphere fractures. You don't have to speak. You don't have to move. Your presence alone rearranges the energy. Some glance at you with quiet respect. Others shrink into discomfort they don't even understand. But deep down, they all sense the same thing. You're not like them. And no, it's not because of how you dress or what you pretend to be. It's something else, something far more dangerous, something invisible. It's what you refuse to show. It's what you hold back. It's the chaos you've mastered beneath the surface. It's the war you've already won against yourself. And that terrifies them, because while they flood the world with noise, desperate to prove, desperate to explain, you don't. You sit in the silence they fear. You hold what they cannot hold, your own center, your own control. You've felt it, haven't you? That shift, when someone walks with the weight of knowing, they owe no one an explanation. That magnetic pull, not built on words, but on restraint, on mastery, on presence. Because here's the law no one talks about. The one who controls perception controls the game, and perception isn't shaped by noise. It's shaped by what you don't reveal. Look around. The world is drowning in volume, in exposure, in people screaming their identity into the void, thinking that's power. But the louder they get, the weaker they become. The more they share, the cheaper they are. The more they explain, the easier they are to dismantle. They don't realize they've fallen into the trap of fake authenticity, the trap of emotional exhibition, the trap of be yourself, which really just means show us your weaknesses so we know where to break you. But the dangerous ones, the truly dangerous ones, play a different game. They don't explain. They don't justify. They don't leak. They observe. They calculate. And when they move, it's irreversible. The most dangerous ones don't explain. They watch. They wait. They calculate. And when they decide to speak, it's unforgettable. Because they've understood something most never will. Silence isn't absence, it's strategy. Look through history. The most influential were never the loudest, never the most charismatic, never the most visible. But they were the ones no one could ignore. Do you know why? Because they understood something brutal. Respect isn't built with words. It isn't negotiated. It isn't declared. It's engineered through perception. And perception doesn't come from what's shown. It comes from what's withheld. Silence is unbearable for the exposed. Silence is violent for the fragmented. Silence is suffocating for those who cannot sit alone with themselves. But for the few who've mastered their own chaos, silence is a battlefield where they grow stronger as everyone else crumbles. Here's the truth. Machiavelli never wrote directly, but left hidden between every line. Human beings fear what they cannot read. They respect what they cannot predict. And they submit to those who don't need validation. Look around, really look. The people you secretly admire, it's not because of what they say. It's because of what they never felt the need to reveal. It's not about what's displayed. It's about what stays hidden. True emotional mastery isn't loud. It doesn't need noise. It's felt. It's inhaled. It's that terrifying calm while the world collapses. It's that gaze that never flinches, even when everyone else falls apart. It's that presence that doesn't try to dominate, and yet dominates everything. This isn't taught in books. It's not whispered in cheap motivational speeches. It's forged in the private war against your own impulses, the war where you feel the pull to react, to explode, to prove something, to retaliate, and you don't. Not because you're weak, not because you're afraid, but because you finally understand that control is worth more than any reaction. And this is where it gets harder. The truth is, the world isn't designed for people like you. The system thrives on your reactivity. It wants you impulsive, loud, exposed, explainable. Because only when you react, only when you rush to fill the silence, only when you overshare, you become predictable. And anything predictable is controllable. It's moldable. It's easy to manipulate, easy to discard. That's why the world secretly fears the quiet ones, the ones who don't play the game of endless validation, the ones who don't flinch when provoked, the ones whose silence doesn't signal confusion, but absolute presence. And that's exactly why this video, this message, isn't for everyone. It's not for those addicted to attention, not for those who believe being seen is the same as being respected. This is for the one who knows they don't fit, for the one whose silence triggers discomfort, for the one who walks differently, thinks differently, lives by rules that others cannot decode. This is for the one who realized that power doesn't scream, that true presence doesn't beg to be acknowledged, that you don't explain value, you embody it. So before you go any further, ask yourself something brutal. Who are you when no one's watching? Who are you when there's no stage, no applause, no one expecting anything? Do you feel peace in that silence? Or does it suffocate you? Because right there is the line between those who need the world to reflect their worth and those who've built it from the inside. Respect isn't something you demand. It's something that radiates from those who no longer need it. And what you're about to understand won't make you popular. It won't make you more liked. It'll make you more dangerous, because the most unsettling power is not the one that's shown. It's the one that's felt. The one that lives in the air, invisible but undeniable. This power doesn't come from noise. It doesn't come from strength. It comes from absolute control over your own image, your own energy, your own narrative. Have you ever noticed how some people never announce themselves, and yet the room bends around them? No words, no noise, just presence. And suddenly, everyone adjusts. The moment their eyes adjust, it's not random, it's not luck. It's because you've mastered something they don't even know exists, the art of becoming a psychological presence, one that doesn't depend on volume, but on precision. This isn't about pretending. It's not about faking. It's about choosing. Choosing exactly what parts of yourself are visible and which will remain forever in the dark. Most people live like open windows, a chaotic storefront where everything is exposed, disorganized, desperate for attention. But the ones who understand the game, they never offer full access. They're like a book with the most important page missing. And that emptiness, that gap, that unanswered question becomes power. It creates fascination, intrigue, unearned respect. Because here's the brutal truth. What you don't say becomes mystery, and mystery, in the right hands, is a weapon sharper than any argument, a force heavier than any explanation. There's a golden rule only a few will ever grasp. Strategic silence is not passivity. It's provocation in disguise. Every time you choose not to react, every time you let the noise collapse without participating, you're sending a message more brutal than words could ever deliver. You are saying, my attention is a privilege, not a right. And that simple choice fractures the entire dynamic. Watch any conversation, pay attention. The one who talks the most is the one chasing approval, but the one who stays silent. Watch as the masks melt. Watch as insecurities rise. Watch as desperation unfold in real time. Silence doesn't just create discomfort, it reveals. It reveals fractures, it reveals fears, it reveals who's actually in control. And while they scramble to fill the emptiness with noise, with explanations, with desperate performances, you become the mirror they fear. A mirror they can't run from, a mirror that forces them to see exactly what they've been hiding from themselves. And here's the twist. Silence isn't neutral, it's a filter, it's a test, it's an invisible exam, only passed by those who no longer need to prove anything. The insecure call it arrogance, the fragile call it rejection, but the wise, they recognize it as an invitation, a door that only opens to those prepared to step through it. And if you want real respect, the kind that isn't spoken but felt, learn this now. The enemy isn't silence. The enemy is your desperation to break it. Every time you justify yourself, every time you over-explain, every time you defend a point no one even questioned, without realizing, you're sending a message far louder than your words. I care too much about what you think of me. And that is the beginning of being controlled. That is how they map you, measure you, box you. But if you resist, if you can hold the tension, if you can remain still while everything inside screams for release, you start building something far more powerful than any argument. A psychological imprint, a mental image that lingers, one that reshapes how others perceive you. Because here's the brutal truth. People's perception of you isn't built on what you do. It's built on what you allow them to believe. The human mind hates empty spaces. It hates uncertainty. It hates the unknown. And when you become an unanswered question, when you turn yourself into negative space, into a presence without a clear label, the world scrambles to fill in the gaps. And in that desperation, they elevate you. Machiavelli never wrote this openly, but it bleeds through every one of his lessons. Transparency is weakness. The leader who reveals everything loses all their leverage. The one who over-explains becomes imprisoned by their own words. But the one who leaves questions unanswered, the one who vanishes in plain sight, becomes unreachable, untouchable, indestructible. Because what can't be classified can't be controlled. And what can't be controlled becomes dangerous. This is the silent consequence of mastery. Invisible authority. A presence that doesn't need to be declared. A force that isn't debated. Because there's nothing to compare it to. While the world fights to be seen, you decide when to appear. While the masses react to everything, you wait and act when it actually matters. While others burn themselves out chasing relevance, you conserve your energy like it's gold, because it is. And whoever controls their energy controls the game. You don't need to be the loudest. You don't need to be the strongest. You don't even need to be the smartest. You just need to be the most enigmatic, the one who never fully shows their cards, the one whose mere appearance becomes an event. And that's why real confidence isn't spoken. It's felt. It's how you enter a room, how you look, how you breathe, how you choose when and if to speak, and how, when the world collapses into chaos, you don't. This is how it's built, slowly, silently. It's not something you announce, it's something you protect. With every mastered emotion, with every impulse you don't obey, with every word you choose not to say. But be careful, because this isn't for everyone. This path isn't for most. Not everyone is wired to hold tension. Not everyone can resist the addiction of being seen, of being validated. Most people need the noise. They need the spotlight, the applause, the constant reminder that they exist. Because without it, without the world mirroring them back, they collapse. They become ghosts in their own skin. And this is where you face the line, a line most never dare to cross. Will you be just another emotional beggar, hunting for attention, for approval, for proof that you matter? Or will you become something else entirely? A figure that confuses, that intimidates, that fascinates, without effort. Because respect isn't built with constant presence. It's built with strategic absences, with intentional silences, with a carefully crafted mystery that no one gets full access to. And once this clicks inside you, the entire game shifts. You stop reacting to the world, and instead, the world starts reacting to you. So carry this question with you, but don't answer it yet. Sit with it. Let it haunt you. Let it carve something deeper into your bones. What would happen if from today you stopped proving and started mastering? Because here's the truth no one dares to say out loud. People don't respect the one who talks the most. They respect the one who could talk and doesn't. The one who could destroy and chooses not to. The one who has power and holds it. That, and only that, is what real mastery looks like. And if you've made it this far, you deserve to hear this. Something very few will ever understand. Something even fewer will ever be able to apply. Silence isn't the absence of words. It's the presence of control. It's the ultimate proof that you can hold the fire without needing to burn anything down. It's knowing that you can stand while everything collapses around you and still move without haste, without noise, without breaking, because there's a brutal difference between seeming strong and being unbreakable. This is the part no one prepares you for. You are not here to be understood. You are not here to be decoded. You are not here to belong. You are here to become the question that fractures the comfort of those still asleep. You are here to exist like a presence they can't categorize and a silence they can't escape. Because real strength, the kind that cannot be borrowed, doesn't come from how the world mirrors you. It's born in the brutal decision to never mirror them back. It's the quiet violence of someone who stopped negotiating their existence, of someone who chose to remove their worth from the hands of others permanently. And that's where most will fail. They'll run back to the noise, back to the illusion that being seen is the same as being safe, back to the false security of applause, likes, validation dressed as belonging. Because the truth is heavier than they imagined. They don't exist without the eyes of others. But you are different. Or maybe you could be. You could become the one who walks unseen, but never unfelt. The one who commands, without asking. The one whose presence alone rearranges reality. Not because you forced it, but because you became untouchable. Let them fill the silence with guesses. Let them project. Let them write stories about you to survive the gap your existence creates. But give them nothing, no confirmation, no clarity, because nothing destabilizes the world more than someone who no longer leaks their own identity. If this didn't feel like a video, but like a reflection of a version of you that's been waiting, then write this below. I don't explain, I don't announce. I move in silence. And let them feel it. Let them choke on the uncertainty. Like the video, share it. If you know someone still trapped in the noise, and hit the bell. But only if you're done being seen and ready to be felt. No sound, no signal, just presence. See you in the next one, or maybe you'll just notice I was already there.